was foretold that the weak would inherit and nothing would change. Here we are at the crossroads, standing face to back, still afraid to see our eyes. I feel helpless and alone.
Hello, hello. What's going on, everybody? Started off the stream with a little bit of Nevermore. It is a murky, dreary Monday afternoon over here in the land of mine, my kingdom. Thy kingdom come. I look glum. Not so much because of I was feeling bad, but because of whenever I was doing research for that album review, and I was very interested to see what the motivations were and how the spirits were in the Architects camp. I figured it was going to be pretty, bad. Kind of an odd place to be, and I learned that of course is very, very true, and that the band almost didn't go forward. They almost didn't move on after the death of Tom, which is understandable considering he was a principal songwriter and of course a very good friend. And so, it's not exactly it wasn't exactly an album that after I did the research I was very happy-go-lucky about, What are my thoughts on Ram Ranch? I have heard it thanks to Bad Song Stream. It's pretty terrible. It's pretty horrific. But we are here. We are live. I've had not a very good day again, which is okay. It's actually fine because it's all been based around things that I can control, such as Mama being she just needs food every 17 seconds. It's like she's pregnant again, but she can't be. It's impossible. She's just... Whoever ends up with Mama is going to have a lot of patience. Eli, no, I haven't yet. In fact, I meant to do that this afternoon, but got very sidetracked. I get sidetracked often whenever I have other things that need to be done IRL, and yeah, it's just been a little bit of a bad day thus far. I'm in rare form. I'm not really... excuse me. I'm not really... my hairline... I have a hairline trigger for bullshit right now. Hence the timeout, which probably wasn't warranted, but I have a hairline trigger for bullshit right now. So we have some songs to get to, though. We have a lot of stuff to get to, actually, because of the generosity from Friday, so I want to thank you guys for that immediately. But we also need to get to a couple of those songs. Justin, if you happen to be out there, please do me a favor and let me know that you are. That way I know whether or not I can play your tracks if you are here. We're going to start it off with Rebellion in Dreamland from Gamma Ray. This was requested from Waterblanc on Friday. We actually have a couple of Waterblanc tracks and a Maru track that we can get to as of right now, because I see who is present. And so we're going to get to a couple of these tracks. That's why we're here a little bit early, to try to get some of those played, and then we can continue forward. So let's get a little bit of Rebellion in Dreamland. This is actually a remastered version from 2000. Ow! Ugh. I hate. Okay. First rant. I'm going on a rant right now. Alright? Because something irritates me greatly. I am greatly irritated by something, and that's, I was checking a couple of things, because I track as much as I can. I track as much as I can, but some things are impossible to track. One thing that's impossible to track, and has been ever since the start, you just grow to get used to it whenever you're in this business, is YouTube revenue from ads and things like that, because there's no rhyme or reason to it. And also, as you noticed with that ad that was right before the track here, before Rebellion in Dreamland, it was for YouTube Music. They pay shit ad rates, okay? So I'm going to sort of pull the veil back a little bit, give you a little bit of inside information on the business as much as I can. Obviously, since they're ads for their own service, they don't pay very well, and they're on a lot of videos. They're on a ton of videos. It's really kind of ridiculous. It's been this kind of day. Wow. Can't even Well, that would have gone in. Oh well. Anyway, really, really shitty ad rates for those. They happen to be everywhere. That one in particular. Oh, whew. That one in particular is for YouTube Music, and I can guarantee you that even if you had YouTube Music, you'd probably still get those ads. I can guarantee you that. If not, it's probably for YouTube Red, and if not, then it's probably for YouTube TV, and if not, then it's probably just for something else YouTube related. Really jerking their own chain, if you know what I'm saying. It's like they're masturbating all over it. Masturbating all over their own product. Thanks, Waterblung. Anyway, that's all well and good, but whenever it comes to Super Chat, that shit is becoming harder and harder to track, and it's been recently announced that they might be implementing a system where if they feel that your Super Chat is offensive in nature in some ways, so for example, let's say that you request a song that maybe has the word God in it, or maybe is satanic, or maybe the title of the track has a slur in it, which I can't really think of many of those, and if you request those, really you deserve to have them not played, I'll be honest with you. That's the stream rule. But anyways, YouTube has now stated that they are going to take your Super Chat money. They're not going to give it to the user. They're not going to give it to the streamer, and they're going to donate it to charity. Please. That is not going to happen. And if it does, then you know it's going to be run by an algorithm. And we all know how great the YouTube algorithm is. We all know how great that algorithm is. So, as a result, once again, YouTube has found a way to screw over the people that basically are keeping them in business, as opposed to, you know, doing the right thing. Once again, the so-called very progressive, very, you know, what, right wing, left wing, I don't even know what wing is what anymore, mostly because I don't care, is once again trying to find a way to make their company seem like this really, really good organization, while simultaneously still continuing to take a big old stick and shove it up the ass of content creators. Lady, you're fortunate that we're not stockholders, that's all I'm going to say, because you'd be voted out very, very quickly. Off the island, see you later. Fuck off. And I'll tell you, just overall, as an entire scene, I'm just going to be honest with you. Whatever you donate in Super Chat, not all of it's coming my way. That's pretty well established. That's pretty well known. So know that, I understand that there's international fees now on PayPal. What's happening? What's happening? It's just getting ridiculous. And I know this is all content, you know, content creative, financial bullshit, but it really does get to be kind of a piss-off whenever essentially a company is taking money from you for absolutely nothing. They're not paying your taxes or doing their, you know, 7.5%, and then you're responsible for yours here in America, of course. You know, essentially what they're saying is that, fuck you, you know? You're an independent contractor, which has its advantages, but also has some major league disadvantages. And then, whenever part of your revenue is stolen from you because of the adpocalypse, and part of your revenue is stolen to you, and also, let's take this to a level that's beyond just on my side. Imagine you, as a user of YouTube, as a fan of somebody, make a request, and it ends up being taken away from that person. You're not supporting YouTube with that request. You're supporting the damn content creator. And they just decide, yoink, fuck you. Ridiculous. It's been that kind of day. It's been that kind of day. Oh, man. Jason, brother, happy birthday to you, man. I don't mean to sound so agitated on your birthday. It's just that it's been that style of day. I'm running on very limited sleep. I have a mama cat that really enjoys waking me up to feed her at all times. Basically, whenever I'm in bed, that's her cue to jump on me and just keep on meowing. Unless I close the door, which... I have 4 cats and I have 4 kittens right now. That's going to be a number that changes drastically because the kittens are all doing great, by the way, so don't worry about them. They're doing wonderfully. 2 of them are sleeping in the monster box. I'd show you them, but I don't think you'd be able to see them. You might just be able to see Blazy's ears. And try it. Well, maybe if I raise the camera up like that, it'll work out. Yeah. But, anyhow, this is Rebellion in Dreamland by Gamma Ray, Stephen. Although I see Waterblanc already got to that, my apologies for repetition. But yeah, I know that if I was on, say, Twitch or, you know, I've never done a super chat on YouTube because I stream on here, but I don't really watch streams on here because most of the people I follow don't stream, period. You know, so I don't really have the opportunity. But if I streamed, I honestly wouldn't give anything. I wouldn't give anything if I streamed, or if I was watching a stream on here, only because I just hate the idea of them taking that away from people. So, Super Chat right now is on my naughty list, but I still accept it 100%. But just know that there are rumors afoot. There are rumors afoot that your comments and what you request may be tracked and watched, and if an algorithm determines them to be not within a certain code, you'll essentially be paying YouTube, which that's not what you're trying to do. Whenever I read that, I actually read that a couple of weeks ago, and it just kind of came back into my mind, and it's been one of those days where something like that causes me to lose it. Because they're doing about south of the bare minimum as it stands. And I think what really set me off also is that I have CKN versus the World as a mod, and whenever I get the stream started, I usually give about 5 to 10 minutes for folks to get in here, and I like to watch that. You know, I'm usually out in the hallway. I like to smoke a cigarette before every stream. It's a little good luck thing, or whatever, you know, a little superstition. By the way, up next we have Gimme, Gimme, Gimme by ABBA. This is also requested by, excuse me, by Waterblanc, who added the phrase, "Please don't judge me," which, no, I'm not going to judge you. I like ABBA. Everybody else, if you have a problem with ABBA, then you're going to get timed out, so have fun. Not because of a casual opinion. If you have a casual opinion about it, that's fine, but some of you, I know what you're really doing. Anyway, I noticed that notifications weren't working. You know, you make a big deal about something being implemented and then it doesn't work. It doesn't function correctly. It's... well, anyway. Yeah, see, Maru has sort of the right idea there. It gets to be bad with fees and stuff like that with anything whenever it's multiple transactions, because it does add up, but still, it's a piss off to see that once again a company that's already taking a lot from the very people that keep them in business, they're the ones that are once again also screwing them further. They're basically reaching to see how much they can take before they start to see people flock elsewhere. Why are people so hostile about others' music taste? I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I really don't know. One thing that I've noticed a lot in the community is that there's the whole concept of it being real or false metal, or if you don't listen to just metal, then you're a poser, or, you know, there's all these little invisible rules that people create in their own minds about what it means to be a heavy metal fan. You know, Ghost isn't metal because they have more of a sound like this, or because they covered ABBA, or because they're not, you know, King Diamond. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous, ridiculous thing. Not everybody who's on here needs to be a content creator. Some folks don't have the time, others don't have the creative spark. They don't know what they want to make videos about. Some folks are just naturally nervous. I know a couple of folks that would probably be very good at maybe doing art lessons or showing the creation of some jewelry, or just have really great, solid opinions on topics, or maybe have a real knack for being behind the camera shooting, you know, scenes of animals or people or whatever. They might have the ideas, but they're exceptionally shy, you know? There's various reasons why. Not everybody has to be a content creator on YouTube. Guitar covers? That's pretty cool. Yeah, ABBA is an awesome, awesome group. They're really fun to listen to during car rides. They're really fun to listen to, like whenever you're cleaning or something like that. They're a really fun band to listen to because their music just naturally kind of gets you grooving a little bit. That's why they have universal appeal. The funny thing is that, you know, I feel like I've personally continued the stigma as opposed to helping the stigma, because everybody thinks that the 5 Reasons videos are my personal opinions, and that I basically just hate every band, which people really miss points easily whenever they don't, you know, whenever they decide not to think for 5 seconds. I've of course been pretty harsh on deathcore. I've been pretty harsh on a lot of things. But again, it's a personalized opinion. It's a personalized opinion, and in some ways, you do have to, especially whenever I kind of became known very early on as the angry metal guy, or the angry music nerd, whatever it was. There was kind of a stigma that had to be continued to... It couldn't be friendly all the time, because it started off as not friendly, and that's why some folks came on board. You know, sometimes you get noted for, or noticed for the wrong things, and then that's their expectation at all times. That's their expectations at all times. Yeah, analytical skills are a very, very helpful thing. It's something that is almost essential to living. I see that Water Blanc has offered us another wonderful donation. We're going to get to the final track that he had requested on Friday that we didn't get to, which is Theater of Tragedy's Silence. But before we go much further, I do have a question for you, sir, and that's, of course, what number on the left-hand side of your screen is that going to? Because you see, we have VIDEOMANIA going on. Your donations go in support of a video creation, or a video's creation, if I were to use proper English. My apologies. So, you get to do 2 things whenever you donate to this channel, to this stream, should I say. You get to request a song. There are dedicated guidelines to that if you type !requestsongs. That will let you know what the fees are for... it's based around song length. But if you want a generalized explanation, usually $1 a minute is a good idea. Usually $1 a minute, good idea. But then you also get to give me a number between 1 and 25, because that donation amount directly goes toward one of those videos, the video that you choose potentially being created. It's very, very simple. Video makes it to $100. You win. The video is being made. This is a streaming event that's going to be going on for quite some time. It's going to be going on until the first part of December. So we have lots of time and a lot going on. So anyhow, Theater Tragedy with Silence coming up next. I hope this is a good version of it. I've heard better, but whatever. There you go. Tool Rules was kind enough to deliver us the manifesto of rules for song requests. Now we're playing everyone's favorite game, Water Blanc, and that's what's the euro worth? Oh, the euro slipped. How? Our market's been tanking like ass. Anyway, 257. 257. Water Blanc, which of those going to? Oh wait, yours is for Renkamal Arion, correct? Yours is for Renkamal Arion. I believe that I've recalled your specific flavor that you enjoy. I'm going to await your confirmation for that. Why are extension songs so short? I guess they're like his life? Was that rude? That was probably rude. That's what a lot of SoundCloud rappers do. They have shorter tracks. Okay. The new Alkaloid album is fantastic. It's very, very good. I know that we haven't really done any sort of review on that, but it was very, very good. I would not be surprised to see it on the end of the year list. So we have that added on to the Arion Renkamal, which right now I believe is the closest to getting created. In second place we have Renkamal Catatonia, which has been oft requested but never has quite made it to fruition. Number 3 is the top 10 heavy metal genres. Number 4 is Why Tool's new album will disappoint. I actually really hope I get the opportunity to make that video for you guys because I have a lot to say about it. I did, you know what? I did hear about Stan Lee. I'll kind of reiterate what I posted on my personal Facebook because I haven't posted anything on the CKN family of social media yet. Stan Lee was a gentleman that was able to take the comic business to new heights whenever it was going under a lot of scrutiny, and there was a lot of criticism that was happening. This was back during the 40s and 50s. They thought it was the kind of derivative of video games and TV these days. They thought it was just rotting kids' brains. That was, of course back then everything made you a communist. But I don't think it ever made it quite that far. But he fought really hard. He was very, very popular. They were able to navigate through darker waters, and of course he has found his success ever since then. And that's kind of proof that you should stick to your guns. If you believe in yourself and believe in your product, you're going to get appreciation eventually. You're gonna get appreciation eventually. I think the best way, or like one of my best memories of Stan Lee is, it can kind of be summed up in his cameo in Mallrats. Because the first real expression that you remember, or that I remember, is he goes to Jason Lee's character, Brody, and says, "Man, they look happy." And Brody says, "What, the bras?" Because he's staring at a shop window that has bras on mannequins, whereas Stan Lee is actually focused on a couple that he sees somewhere around the same area. And what also really captures me and what makes me remember that so fondly is the monologue that Stan delivered about how all of his characters are an extension of himself or an extension of his emotions. And that's a very true thing, despite the fact that he, said to he said to another character that it was just ripped from a comic book. It was just him trying to utilize one of the comic's lessons to teach a lesson. It's actually very true. So any musician, that's an extension of them in a weird way. In the case of songs like Ram Ranch or, I guess any of the last 4 U2 albums. But there's an extension of that person in that song or in that album. An author or a storyteller always has a little bit of themselves in each and every novel, whether it be stylistically or the different things that they list as important to the characters. An artist bleeds their own emotion, bleeds a little bit of their own blood all over the canvas, whatever that canvas may be. But he will be certainly missed. May he rest in peace. And 95 years old. He lived the same amount of time as his wife did. His wife also died at 95. So it's almost fitting. It's almost fitting that's when he would pass. I think it made sense. I think it would make sense. Played Plains, like I said, I have a lot to say about that. And I'm going to spoil one aspect of that as we get to Harmaja with Sidental Vala, rather. This was requested by Mario on Friday. One of the things that is going to make a huge difference with people is their own personal expectations. And honestly, I'm going to tell you, that will probably be the reason why the album doesn't shape up or doesn't deliver in the manner in which they're hoping. I believe that this album has been so overhyped or so lusted for that its hype is going to be its own downfall. I would go into greater detail with that in the video, obviously, but that's a little spoiler alert. Pain with Same Old Song, also requested by Waterblanc, also heading toward Rankamal Catatonia. It's funny because and this shows a little bit of my age, or kind of where my appreciation for music came from. There is a track from an oldies artist, and I'm struggling to recall who it was. I'm struggling to recall the name, which makes me feel like I should apologize to my parents after this. As dumb as that sounds. But they exposed me to a lot of the older artists of the American generation, a lot of stuff that they listened to and enjoyed whenever they were younger. And one of the songs was, it's just the same old song with a different beat since you've been gone. Yep, heading toward Rankamal Catatonia, which right now is still in first place. Yeah. Rankamal Catatonia has been supported both by Riff Notebook as well as by Justin Neely. He bopped a little bit of support that way as well. I believe Dominic was showing some of his love over to one of the other videos. His was toward top 10 heavy metal genres, which is going to be a really interesting video because if you think about it, it's thrash, you have black, you have death, you have progressive, you have drone, sludge. You're going to notice that we're going to have to go into probably some subgenres, or we're going to have to dig deep. Go with new wave of British heavy metal, power metal, things like that. Things that could be a little complementary. But we're going to try to stick with mostly mother genres, as I like to call them. Drive-through metal. Drive-through metal is a subgenre. We're talking at genres. You have to dig a little bit deeper. Bavarian with the 20 krone, I believe it is. The Norwegian krone. Wants to hear a little bit of 96 Quite Bitter Beings, the old CKY song. Oh, man. Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Tony Hawk Pro Skater, dude. That was on the, that was on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. That was my introduction to CKY. That was my introduction to them many years ago, and it didn't really set me up to love them forever, I'll be honest with you, but I respect the band, and I really like that song. That was always sort of my go-to song on that game. I had it for GameCube. That's $2.35. Where is that heading to, Bavaria, and which of the 25 videos to the left is that heading to? Thank you, by the way, Maru, for the wonderful song. It reminded me a little bit of the Doves. And I like Doves a lot. Especially whenever it came to their first 2 albums. Lost Souls is one of my favorite alternative albums of all time. I just love it. It's an amazing album. Warpath by Hypocrisy. Oh, yeah, by the way, Doves aren't metal. If you have a problem with that, then I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for you. That's really all that I think I can say at this point, is that if you have a problem with somebody liking alternative music or something other than metal, really, the Doves is more like post-Britpop. But if you have a problem with somebody liking another form of music and not just metal, then I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say to you. I don't know what to say to you. You know? Warpath by Hypocrisy. After this ad from Jack Daniels that doesn't feature Mila Kunis, so I don't care about it. Because Mila Kunis is beautiful. Bavarian says Steel Panther. Number 18. Good selection, good selection. Funnily enough, that was a video that was, it was suggested by somebody in a video comment. So that one, I looked at that and I said, you know what? Yeah. You know what? Yeah. That one is just interesting and kind of like weird enough to work. And I know that the comments on that are going to be gold. I know the comments on that are going to be gold. Oh, Eli, you had your appendix taken out, dude. How are you feeling? I hope you're feeling alright. You're probably on some good shit right now. I'm glad to see that the surgery was a success. Wish you the best of luck in your recovery. Miss CKN's brother had to have his appendix taken out. Or was it his gallbladder? He had to have an organ removed. It was either last year or like the tail end of 2016. It was last year. It was 2017. And he was pretty messed up, dude. Yeah, I can turn the music down a little bit. Whoever did that, that was he had appendicitis. I'm pretty sure that's what he had as well. So yeah, you're definitely feeling a lot better, I'm sure. Mila Kunis is annoying as a person, especially in that 70s show. You do realize that she was playing a character in that show, right? Like, you know, fictional character. Hey, Andrew. Hey, David. Fear of Blank Planet's on an awesome disc, man. I'm glad you found it, and thank you for the subscription based off of that, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Do I prefer Nickelback or Limp Bizkit? Oh, God. I prefer, I don't know, heroin. No, I'm kidding. I guess really between the two, I have better memories with Limp Bizkit because the first half of Significant Other is good. Like, I have more memories from being young and dumb with Limp Bizkit than I do Nickelback. So I guess I'd have to go with Limp Bizkit. I personally hope that I don't have to have much in the way of surgery or medical procedures done in the future because I hate fucking needles. I hate needles and I hate the idea of getting cut. Although, that fear of getting cut is kind of going away considering, kittens. Kittens and claws. Yeah, the first half of Significant Other is pretty decent, actually. I would say that's Limp Bizkit at their peak. Like, tracks like End Together Now are pretty classic. Rearranged is not that bad. I have a funny story about Rearranged. I remember I was listening to that on my boombox whenever I was a kid. I say kid, I was like, I don't know, 14, 15. My mom popped into the room, and I think I was like playing a computer game and listening to music and stuff. She heard the line, then you leave and I can't believe all the bullshit that I find. She just turned to me and was just like, real nice message there. It's funny to me now because now my mother swears like a sailor. What about the second half? It sucks. It's horrible. That album loses all momentum. That album could have been, actually a fairly decent score, if I'm being honest. But no, the second half of that album is absolute trash. Black Number One's a great song. Typo Negative is just a really good band. You really can't go wrong with any of Typo's material. Typo is one of the... I would say metal has a lot of bands where if you're trying to look for a place to start, there's no real wrong answer. And I would say that Typo is a band that has that problem, I guess, if you want to call it a problem. We're going to go to some Pain with Same Old Song. Waterblanc apparently listening to a lot of Pete Tatterton. Up next, you'll probably hear some Till Lindemann, based off of the trend that we're on currently. I'll have to turn this one up or not, that's the question. Because that one, I'm pretty sure that was the upload. Because that upload was just fiercely louder than a lot of other things. Like, even the actual mix of that song, which I have the album, it is just, it's not that loud. I despise Chocolate Starfish? Yes, I do. That album is abysmal. Really, anything after the second half of Significant Other is really, really poor. With limited exception. With limited exception. At that point in time, they became a band that could do individual tracks alright. Like, they would get a decent track here and there, but whenever it came to putting together albums, they became horrible at it. Absolutely terrible at it. $3 Bill Y'all's alright. Again, that's a little bit more of nostalgia dripping in. I remember listening to $3 Bill Y'all with one of my older friends back whenever I was in grade school. Like, it was more like junior high school, I guess. I remember really liking, oh, Waterblanc, you're not predictable. I set that up for you and you just took it. You grabbed those brass rings. You grabbed the brass ring. Lindman with Yukon. I offered the suggestion and there it was. It was like magic. It was like magic. Thanks, dude. A little bit of Till Lindemann coming up here in a little while. Of course, keeping my eye out for a couple people. Keeping an eye out for Justin, Metal Fury, and Rip Notebook, because we still do have a couple of tracks to play from Friday, and they all have their names on it. So definitely keeping my eyes peeled for those individuals, those wonderful people. The funny thing is that their cover of Behind Blue Eyes is not terrible, Daniel. I really don't think it's all that bad. What they kind of did with the middle section was a little predictable, and I feel like if anybody aside from Fred Durst sang that track, it would be even better. But his vocals kind of killed it, but also made the song at the same time. It's weird. It's really, really odd. Because for a while there, I could not unhear Fred Durst's version of that song in my head. So instead of hearing The Who, I heard Durst on vocals only. Like, even whenever I would listen to The Who's version of Behind Blue Eyes, like, it would sound weird to me because you got that song was played over obsessively. You know, I noticed that Limp Bizkit does a song from The Who. You know, Disturbed, of course, did The Sound of Silence from Simon and Garfunkel. Notice how nu metal shifted backward a little bit to do songs from classic rock or classic, you know, classic standards. Now, listen to Limp Bizkit's Results May Vary once and only once. Somebody wants me to listen to that again, they're going to have a check in their hand. Or a gun. Preferably the check. If they had a gun in their hand, I'd probably shit my pants. They cut the last part of the original. They did. They did. But, am I all that... I mean, are we really all that surprised? Are we... I guarantee you that part of that was just bullshit. Like, part of that was just radio hit bullshit, where in order for them to have that song play on the radio, it had to be a certain length, probably by label guideline. Either that or they just didn't want to do it. I don't know. I really don't know what the explanation is there. I mean, like, part of me really hopes it was because of something dumb, like the label told them, hey, you can't do that because radio single. That way I could blame it on the label being dumb. But chances are probably better off that the band was dumb. 96 Quite Bitter Beings from CKY. This is requested by Bavaria, and thank you again, brother. Oh, yeah. How much is sufficient to activate the incentive? $100. Well, Volv, the funny thing is apparently somebody got really, really pissed about like a pedal that they were offering. You know, some tech that they were offering. Somebody found out about that and got into a big old hissy tiff about it. If you are a part of the CKN Facebook page, chances are that there will be a post tonight that will be asking a very specific question. Who has been a douchebag this year in the metal/rock community? I was reminded by somebody over in the CKN Legion, the fan club, that that video needs to exist, and I had honestly completely forgotten about it. I had completely forgotten about it, and I've not kept very close track of the news this year, so I need your help. So I will be taking some information from those of you. Did you guys hear about Threat In? Did you hear about the guy who faked all the information about the band, from the size of crowds, had a fake label, fake media company, and was able to score a 10-day European tour based off of all of this insane work, only to have only 3 people or 1 person show up to the shows? Have you seen this? Have you seen this shit? Like, it is something else. Like, the dude is a douchebag. He'll probably be on the list, but I will find it really, really difficult not to laugh the whole time I'm talking about him. Comedy rock? No. CKI was largely serious, but of course you have to remember, they had a little bit of a punk side to them, and if I remember, they were made up by some of the skaters themselves, so I'm sure some of their personalities leaked out. If donations reach to that incentive, that's not even one that I have on the left, because if somebody comes in and drops $5,000 for me to listen to Bavaria, first of all, I'm taking some of that money to, like, go visit them and maybe, like, kiss them or something, because that's really, really generous. But after I kiss them, I will also, if they're a male, I will punch them in the face for making me listen to that. And chances are, considering we're all metal fans here, that if it's a dude and I punch him in the face, he'll probably just punch me back, and then we'll be cool. We'll go drinking, or, I don't know, go tar and feather the mayor. You know, if it's a lady, if it's a lovely lady, then I will kiss them for the $5,000 donation. I will not punch them, though. I will not punch them, though. Not unless they're into that sort of thing. Even then, I'd probably still be very restrictive on it. I may, however, you know, I may have to do something to their home. Like, their welcome mat, if it faces forward, I might have to turn it around. Night Raider 52, what is going on? How you doing? You say the Social Distortion member for punching a guy because he supported Trump. I haven't read the story, so I don't know the story. I really don't know the story there. The only reason why I'm asking for more information is I want to know if the punch was justified. You know, not, you know, just being a Trump supporter that isn't justification enough. If the guy was yelling stuff at him, if he was being generally obnoxious and haranguing him, harassing him, you know, sometimes a punch is kind of worthy. It's kind of worthy. If you subject me to 3 hours of Bavaria, that punch is worthy. Don't worry, I'll make sure that you don't get knocked out. Do I like the band Cut Up? I don't know the band Cut Up. What do I think of Cataclysm? Cataclysm's pretty awesome. Cataclysm's a very steady band. If you notice, I say that about a lot of different groups. There are a lot of bands out there that are very dead set with their style, and you would think that that would make that very boring, or very predictable. And that's because it is. It is very predictable, but that's not a bad thing. You know that you're going to get a very steady album from them every single time. The only time I ever worry about a steady band is if I go through one of their albums and nothing juts out at me. Usually what will happen with a steady band is that there will be 1 or 2 songs on the album that always become, you know, like new add-on. If I were to make a playlist for a specific band, those 2 songs get added onto that playlist of songs that I really, really like. I've never done anything like that before, surprisingly enough. Like, I don't have a playlist of just my favorite Porcupine Tree songs hanging around somewhere, or like my favorite Iron Maiden songs or anything like that. I don't do that mostly because sometimes I just want to be surprised. Sometimes I just want to go to a band and select a song and just go, that one. I want to listen to that one. I don't care, you know. Because by doing that, and by re-exploring that track, I may gain new appreciation for it if I disliked it before, or wasn't really connecting with it before. Or if it's a track I really like, maybe I find something about it that brings me back down to earth a little bit. Lindman with Yukon. That is up next in our cavalcade of music. That has been... basically, we should just call this the Waterblunk Show. We should just call this the Waterblunk Show. It's his universe and we just exist in it. Roy Khan reuniting with Conception is pretty freaking cool. I think that's pretty awesome.
Your soul is black.
I think that's pretty cool.
Your blood is cold.
Mostly because Roy being in the music business, period, is something that we really need.
You have a heart
I just think we really, really need that. I don't personally mind Tommy all that bad. Band/artist tips, keep politics out of any of your yeah. The bad part about it is that you're almost like everybody these days, since politics are such a fervent topic and people are divided so fiercely by it, you know, they all want to know what side you're on. You know, it's almost like a test. It's almost like whenever they ask the question, it's a test. And they should be honest about it, too. They should really be honest about what they mean. Oh, excuse me, what they mean by the test. That was a little Rick and Morty right there. Andrew, thank you very much in advance. I will get that notification eventually. I'll be honest with you. There it is. But what the question is... What the question actually is... Am I still going to support you, or is this the last time I care about you? Andrew, I appreciate that, my friend. I'm going to check this. I'm not sure if you had a song attached to it or not. I hope that you did. If not, Dimubor Gear with Hybrid Stigmata. Very cool, man. Big time fist bump. CKN Club for life. $10 from Bro Sormo. Says he is putting it toward the Christmas Kittens video. Arguably the cutest video on the list. That's going to be a lot of fun. Because, yeah, the kittens will be... I'm fairly certain all 4 of the kittens are going to be here until Christmas, for sure. There's one of them that already has a somebody who is going to be taking, you know, is going to be giving him a good home. Little Amelia is going to be heading off to one of a personal friend of mine, actually, so I know that she's going to be well taken care of. But they won't be leaving here until after they're either spayed or neutered. Which, in the case of the ones that will actually be departing, it's all spade jobs, because Cornell's going to stick around with us, and he'll be getting neutered eventually. Right now, we're more so just worried about the spade jobs for the 3 kittens and for Mama. Any other Peter projects that you need to be aware of? Actually, maybe. Do you like Pleasures, Paved Sewers,